Hi guys, in this video I'm going to make a cute pumpkin Halloween cake. I've just got a small cake board and my first cake, which is just covered in sugar syrup to keep the moisture in. Now my first one's actually a toffee cake, and then what I've done is cooked a dome cake. So try and get it the same size as your bottom one. Now if you want a shorter pumpkin, just do just the dome, you don't need the extra cake on the bottom. Now I have partially frozen my dome cake so that I don't squash it when I'm cutting into it. Now I'm just using my egg beat to cook through. So this one's 6-inch wide at the bottom is this cake. You can see it's still a bit frozen in the middle. And I've just cut it into 3. So this dome cake is the one that you use for like the bottom of dolls' skirts. I'll put links in the description box below. I've got some white chocolate ganache that I'm using, and I've just mixed a bit of pale green food colouring into it. So that's just going to go on my bottom cake, and then the middle 2 layers I'm going to cut out a little circle of sponge because I want a hollow one so I can fill it with sweets. So there's 2 bits I've cut out. I'm not going to waste. I'm going to put those to one side. I've stuck them together first. And then I'm going to put a layer of ganache on the inside of this little hole that I've made and some on the top. So I've layered that on top of my bottom flat layer. Let's do the same with our next layer up. So ganache in the middle and then between the layers. I'll just smooth off this bit on the edge before it has time to set. Now I thought I'd baked a 6-inch bottom cake, and you can see it's actually just a little bit smaller than the dome cake above it. So I'm just going to trim that slightly. And now my mini one that's made with the offcuts from the middle, we're just going to cut a little bit off sort of the top and bottom edge. It's not a perfect circle by any means, but it's fine for a little pumpkin. And I'm just going to cover it in a layer of that green white chocolate ganache. So just smooth it the best you can, and I've just popped it onto a piece of greaseproof paper just so it doesn't stick while it's setting. And then what I'm going to do is just cut some little slits all the way down from top to bottom. These are going to be the little grooves in our pumpkin. Once you've done that all the way around, just put a little layer of the chocolate ganache. Now, if you prefer, you can use buttercream. Once it's fully set, you can put sprinkles and sweets and whatever you want in the middle. Now, I used chocolate ganache so that when it's set, my sweets wouldn't stick to the edges of it, whereas if I'd used buttercream, these sweets would stick to the edges. So these ones are in wrappers, but I plan on cutting it straight away, so they're not really going to be left in there for very long. And let's see what else. Let's use some of these little chocolate ones. Some little green pearls in. Not too many because these ones are quite crunchy. These ones just more so they look nice. They are still edible though. Fill with some rainbow dust sprinkles. More white chocolate ganache. And then let's pop our lid on. Then let's trim a little bit off the lid just so it's nice and rounded on the top. And then I'm putting those grooves in again so that it follows along into the cake. Once I've done that, I'll give it another layer of the chocolate ganache all the way over so that it's nice and smooth. You don't need a lot. So once your ganache has started to firm up, I'm going to take my small little pumpkin, so the middle section of the cake that I cut out and ganached, and I'm going to cover it in some orange sugar paste. I've kept it quite thick for this one, just because I was worried about squishing it quite a bit with it being so small. If you want, you can roll it thinner, and I've cut it off halfway down because I want it to look like it's sitting in a cauldron. And then I've just got this little modelling tool here that I'm using to indent lines all the way across now, so it looks a bit more pumpkin-like. And I've just got a small balling tool. We're just going to put in some little eye sockets. And then I'm covering the larger cake. Again, just with my orange fondant. You can go a little bit thinner on this one. Again, I've probably left it a little bit on the thick side on the fondant on this one. I should have spent a little bit longer rolling it out. And we're just going to put lines in, but we're going over those lines that we'd already created, or those indentations that we'd created earlier when we cut bits out of the cake. Again, we're going to do some eye sockets. We're going to make them a little bit bigger on this one. And I tried to make them slightly more teardrop shaped than round. And let's just put a little line in for the mouth. Keep it nice and simple. I've put a couple of little lines under the eyes so my pumpkin looks quite tired. And I'm sticking it to my cake board with a bit of chocolate ganache. Just make sure you've stuck it far enough over that you've left space for your little pumpkin as well. Now I'm giving it a little broom. So I've got a kebab skewer, so you can't eat the kebab skewer. I've covered it in brown modelling chocolate, or you can use fondant. And we've just created this little cutout bit for the end, which we've put lines in with a knife. Let's put a little bit more around the end. Roll a nice thin bit. Let's wrap this round. And just to make it look a bit more wood-like, let's draw some more lines in here. Like so. Now it's not going to stand up on its own, so I'm just going to put a little piece of green fondant in there. And we'll try and poke that into there the best we can. And it's going to have to lean against my pumpkin. And let's give my pumpkin a little arm. So it's a teardrop shaped piece of fondant. Just wrap it around the broom and stick it onto the side of the body. And I'm just going to make lots of little green fondant leaves to put around the base of that so we can't see that green piece of fondant we stuck on the board earlier. I'm filling the eyes with just white fondant, so teardrop shape to try and match roughly the shape I left in the orange fondant. And then a little piece of purple. I've just squished this to shape. If you prefer to use a round cutter, you can do. So a little bit in each eye. And then we're going to go over with a black bit, similar kind of shape, but smaller, in the middle of each eye. So squish that down, just make it a little bit bigger. Tiny little eyebrows. So I'm just using black, but they probably look okay in orange as well. Almost like little slugs. So I am going to do the same on my small little pumpkin, but first of all I'm going to wrap some black fondant around the bottom section of it because I want it to look like it's sitting in a little cauldron. I've rolled a long snake-shaped piece in black, which we've wrapped around the top of that black section. And then let's give our cauldron a little handle. So I'm just going to go from one side to the other. I was going to stand the handle up, but I didn't make it in advance to let it dry, so it's going to be facing downwards, the handle, rather than up. And then for the face, I'm just going to do exactly the same as we did on the big one, fill in the eye holes with white, and then we're going to put a little bit of purple and black in the centre, also giving it some little eyebrows. Give him a little piece of green fondant just in the top. And we're going to do the same on the big one. I've also created a little spiral of fondant. Just going to place that small one just on my board next to the big one. If it doesn't feel like it's sticking on its own, put a bit more chocolate ganache under there. And a little ball of white in each eye. And let's just connect the two together with another arm. So again, teardrop shape stuck to the side of the large one, and then I'm just going to rest it on the top of the small one. Let's give our big pumpkin a little witch's hat. So I've cut out a disc. This time I've used modelling paste rather than fondant because it was a little bit soft for this bit. Create a cone. Some little lines in the cone. It's going to just sit on top of our disc, and then we're going to put a strip of purple just around the base of the cone shape. Now if you want, you can add some highlights or shading. So can you see I've just added a little bit of dark green. This is just the edible powder dust, and I do apologise that I didn't film this. I forgot to press record. It's just in the little cracks that I've put in the pumpkin that I've put a little bit of dark green on there. Okay, so just to show you what it looks like on the inside. So you can see all my sweets in there. Ideal for a little Halloween party. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and more.